Alright, so moving on to the next diagrams. We came from this and this. So we started off with the C major scale showing the line of symmetry. Geometry around the line of symmetry is really dynamic when it comes to harmony in music. And here we went on in depth, more depth, fitting in the A minor chord and the C major chord into the C major scale, which also is the A minor scale. And then we came here and we showed how the diminished chord fits into the C major scale, which also happens to be the A minor scale. And then we came here with the augmented chord and showed how it fits into the C major scale, which happens to be the A minor scale. And everything fitting symmetrically, sharing the same line of symmetry. Primary major and minor chords, primary diminished chord, primary augmented chord. So we covered all the basic forms of chord types, all the chords in their basic forms. Of course, you can expand chords, you can make hybrids of them and everything, but this is the basics. So now, scales within scales. Of course, the major minor scale, which we went through, is a scale within a scale. The grand scale for the piano is the chromatic scale, and within that scale we derive the major scale. And we showed that the major scale, once we take that out of the 12-note chromatic scale, we're left with a pentatonic scale, a 5-note scale. And you can have a 5-note scale just like that, same dimensions, everything in white notes. So we're going to show the fitting of those scales. And the primary one would be, let's see, we have D, we have E, we have G, A, oh, we have a C, D, E, A, G, G, A, C, D, E. Do we have a D, E? Let's see, is there a D, E? We have a D, E, G, A, B. Okay, we have that here. Anyway, I got off track there. I was looking for something that I didn't pay attention to. So this one with the polka dotted line, D, E, G, A, B, that's the one that transposes directly down from the sharps and flat pentatonic. You drop that to the D, you drop that to the E, you drop that to the G, you drop that to the A, and you drop that to the B. And we have that represented here. Well, the primary pentatonic scale, the pentatonic scale that shares the same line of symmetry with its parent C major scale or A minor scale, either way you want to look at it. In fact, this pentatonic actually has an A note in it and a C note in it, so I'd have to think about it. Would that fit as an A minor pentatonic? Would it fit with a C major pentatonic? It has the line of symmetry, which includes the G sharp, so I know this pentatonic would make for nice bluesy kind of feel if I threw the G sharp there in between the A and G. Where is the A and G? This is classic blues motif. What are the notes? So the other notes are C, D, E. Where is? We have C, D, E. So that's in its pentatonic form. And you can see it's getting bluesies. Without that G sharp note, it's just... So it can be interpreted a lot of ways. But once you throw that G sharp note in there, it gives it quite a bit of a blues feel. And and it has classical applications, you know, different types of genre applications. But just to give you an idea of how following line of symmetry to deviations from the bounds of a parent scale can lead to changes in the expression, the tonal expression of the scale. You know, 1 minute it's sounding bright as a scale, and then you throw in that G sharp note we showed in the A minor context where it made the A minor scale sound kind of Middle Eastern. Then we're showing the subscales of pentatonic scales. All of a sudden it's making the pentatonic scale sound kind of bluesy. Anyway, here's two more. This is the line of symmetry for this shape. I didn't draw this shape in here. I just drew the C major scale and drew two pentatonic scales, and there should be one pentatonic scale along the G sharp to D axis, but I already put it here, and I didn't want to put it in here because these two already are obscuring each other enough that it'd be too much to throw the third one in, and I wanted this one by itself just to show how it aligns along with respects to the line of symmetry. You keep hearing me repeat that over and over again. The more you hear that and the more you see that, the better you'll understand what's working. This is something that doesn't really present itself so clearly when you're looking at the patterns here. You know, this is just one-dimensional. Well, it's three-dimensional, but in reality, you're just following the one-dimensional aspect of it. I mean, each key is three-dimensional, but that's just in the shape of the key. But when you're following it, you're just following a linear function, that's all. And it doesn't bring much out. The geometric sequence of everything here, the geometric progression of it is pretty dynamic, and you don't see it until you enclose it into something two-dimensional rather than one-dimensional. So basically this is taking a line of notes, this circle. Just imagine putting a cut here and opening the circle, and this line that makes a circumference, stretching it out like a line, and that would be your linear function that you see on the piano. So imagine taking these lines and notes up, just peeling them up in a line and taking that line and wrapping it around itself like a circle. And you know, you'd have the C at the top and all the way around the circle like that. In fact, you could take one of these circles and roll it like a gear across here, and every time it ran, the cogs would match its particular note. Of course, you'd have to build the circle to the right size so that each note would be a cog that would match here. You can get some mechanical function going out of it. It's more than just basic linear drudgery. There's some fun to be had, some creativity beyond just, you know, sticking at a line of keys. So here we have the base of the pentatonic. You'll see the outline of the pentatonic in dashed lines here, and you'll see it has a base, and then it widens as it goes to the top, and then comes to an apex. So you'll see that here. The base is actually up here for this one, and it widens up to here, and then comes as an apex. This other one with the dash line, the base is here, and actually no, the base is here. The base of it is here, and it widens there. So basically you have a base here and a line of symmetry going through it, and then you have another base here and a line of symmetry going through it, and line of symmetry here, line of symmetry here, and you have these two new lines of symmetry crisscrossing the original line of symmetry from the parent scale. And you'll see those two new lines of symmetry crossing the old line of symmetry with respect to that old line of symmetry. So even the alternate symmetries are symmetrical to the original parent scale symmetry. So that's interesting. You can have shifting symmetry. You can change from one symmetry orientation to another symmetry orientation and be changing keys, be changing style, be changing, you know, a big aspect of your music, and still have some bearing based on your line of symmetry and the shapes that will build around it. You follow the line of symmetry and then build your shapes around that line of symmetry and build them to respects with that line of symmetry. Basically building symmetrical shapes. After that, it's what you can fit within the shapes, or what you can fit the shape within. Anyway, this is a progression from chromatic scale and then sizing down to a major scale, and then sizing down to a pentatonic scale. And then these you can see the outline of this pentatonic scale. This pentatonic scale encloses C, E, G, fits in this pentatonic scale. So that's the C major chord, and the A minor chord also fits into it, A, C, E. So not just are they enclosed within the boundaries of the C major scale, they're also enclosed within the boundaries of the sub-scale pentatonic scale. So they're within the boundaries of the chromatic, then the subscale to the chromatic is the major scale, then the subscale to the major scale is the pentatonic. And the major and minor chord fit within that very well. When you get that kind of fit through the diminution of modules, you know, going from chromatic module to major minor module to pentatonic module, and you get chord fittings that are universal to all of them, then you know you've got some core, or basically the primary chords. You're dealing with the most significant chords. You can't go astray dealing with those chords. Also, the same applies to the line of symmetry. This line of symmetry goes through the pentatonic, goes through the major minor, and so that line of symmetry, you can't go wrong sticking to it. This will take you to classical style, bluesy styles that I don't want to call it a rogue note, but you know, which one is not like the other, but yet still somehow hatched from the same, you know, scheme of things. The G sharp will take you to bluesies music if you throw it into the pentatonic scale. It'll take you to classical Middle Eastern type sounds if you include it with the minor and major scale. And if you follow it into other scales that have nothing to do with the C scale. Now, what I mean by other scales is, and we need to get into this now, because look at how many lines of symmetries we've got going now, and look at how many deviations from the parent scale we've got. Before it was just the D sharp, but with these new alternate lines of symmetry, this one is just like the D, the G is part of the parent scale, and then for this one, just like the D, the A is part of the parent scale. And the interesting thing is that in the circle of fifths,